Today, we turn our attention to the explosive, high-heat, and fiercely antagonistic romance of Ana Huang's Twisted Hate, the third book in the series. This is the ultimate enemies-to-lovers story, featuring two characters who are locked in a decade-long war of words, only to discover that their burning animosity masks an even hotter, undeniable attraction. This narration will delve into the details of the deep-seated resentment, the unwilling cohabitation, and the eventual, explosive emotional surrender of our two leads, Josh Chen and Jules Ambrose. Our hero is Josh Chen, the older brother of Ava Chen from Twisted Love, and the only male of the original four friends' inner circle. Josh is a brilliant, dedicated medical resident, driven, loyal, and incredibly protective of his family and friends. He is also handsome, charming when he chooses to be, and harbors a deep-seated contempt for our heroine, Jules Ambrose. Jules Ambrose is a fiercely independent and ambitious law student, pursuing her dream career with single-minded focus. She is sharp-tongued, quick-witted, and possesses a cynical edge. She is also one of Ava's three best friends, which forces her into Josh's orbit. Their relationship is defined by a decade of intense hatred. Their rivalry began years ago with a childish prank and escalated over time, fueled by their equally stubborn personalities. To Josh, Jules is abrasive, manipulative, and a threat to the sweet nature of his sister. To Jules, Josh is an arrogant, condescending bully who needs to be taken down a peg. The conflict of the book is set in motion when Jules requires a temporary living situation and, through a twist of fate and the manipulation of their friends, ends up moving in with Josh. The setup for the ultimate enemies-to-lovers trope is complete. They are forced into close quarters, surrounded by their mutual animosity. Their cohabitation begins as a hostile treaty. They set up rigid boundaries, establish a chore wheel, which they both inevitably weaponize, and treat every shared space, the kitchen, the living room, as a demilitarized zone. Every interaction is loaded with biting sarcasm, eye rolls, and insults veiled as polite commentary. The initial phase is less about romance and more about who can irritate the other more effectively. Josh is meticulous and tidy. Jules is creative chaos. Their differences only amplify their hatred. However, the constant sniping and arguing serve a purpose. They are a distraction from the undeniable, white-hot physical tension that simmers beneath their resentment. The anger they feel is so intense, so consuming, that it's just a hairline trigger away from becoming something else entirely. It's that exhilarating kind of hate where they are always focused on each other, always aware of where the other is in the room. The first major crack in the facade comes from an escalating argument, a fight so heated, so close, that the insults finally burn out, leaving only the charged atmosphere and the raw, physical attraction. It's not a gentle discovery. It's an explosion. They cross the line, not out of affection, but out of a desperate need to channel their furious energy into a passionate release. The explosion leads to a highly volatile, strictly no-feelings arrangement, a friends-with-benefits agreement. This arrangement is purely physical, and they both insist it is fueled solely by the pleasure of getting back at each other and relieving tension. They're explicit about their rules: no dates, no discussing feelings, no jealousy, no public display of affection. This stage of the story is deeply focused on the physical chemistry, which is off the charts, but also the inevitable slow-burn psychological shift. They spend more time together, and their true, unguarded personalities start to emerge. Jules is revealed to be incredibly lonely and deeply insecure about her self-worth, a feeling masked by her sharp exterior. She carries trauma from her past that has left her feeling perpetually like an outsider. Josh, beneath the arrogant facade, is deeply caring and insightful. He begins to protect her, not as a duty, but instinctively. He starts to notice the little things about her, the intensity of her focus, the vulnerability in her eyes when she thinks no one is looking, and the reasons why she acts out. The no-feelings rule is, predictably, the first to break. Josh starts to get possessive. Jules finds herself craving his presence outside the bedroom. Their arguments become less about hate and more about hurt, the surest sign that their feelings are developing into genuine, deep affection. As their relationship deepens, the external threats and internal secrets emerge. Jules's past, which includes an abusive friendship that left her deeply scarred emotionally and physically, comes to the forefront. She is working to build a new, strong foundation, but her insecurity remains a constant threat. Simultaneously, a new character enters the frame, a past rival who seeks to destroy Jules professionally and personally. This rival uses a combination of manipulation and the very secrets that Jules has tried to bury to attack her. This leads to the novel's major conflict and subsequent betrayal. Josh, in an effort to protect Jules from the situation and his own fear of losing control, makes a massive mistake. He intervenes in a way that, while intended to help, violates Jules's trust and her autonomy, confirming all her deepest fears about men controlling her life. When Jules discovers Josh's actions, his interference, his secrecy, she is devastated. She sees it not as protection, but as the arrogant condescension she always accused him of, magnified by his love. The trust is shattered, and the walls that Jules had just begun to take down slam back up with painful force. She pushes him away completely, convinced that she was right all along. The man she hated and then loved was never going to truly accept the broken parts of her. The final act is Josh's desperate, agonizing fight for redemption. Having lost Jules, he realizes the full extent of his love and the magnitude of his mistake. He must not only apologize but fundamentally change his behavior, shedding his controlling instincts and proving that his love means respecting her independence and autonomy, not trying to fix her. He goes to extraordinary lengths to show Jules that he accepts her completely, flaws, past, and all. His redemption arc is less about grand gestures and more about profound internal growth. He learns to let go of control and to simply be there for her, to be her steadfast support without overshadowing her own strength. Jules, in turn, has to confront her deep-seated insecurities and learn to accept a man's love without viewing it as a trap. Their happily ever after is built on a messy, hard-fought foundation of mutual respect and a fiery, passionate connection that proves that the line between hate and love is thin, volatile, and ultimately, exhilaratingly worth crossing.